Most adults use finger tape or a tuner to help them play in tune, without realizing that is exactly what causing them to sound bad and slowing their progress. After teaching hundreds of adult students and studying more than 800 books, I found some of the best methods to play in tune and beautifully. So today we'll see first why you should never again use finger tape or tuners while practicing. And then we'll see what you should do instead to not only play perfectly in tune, but more importantly, play the violin beautifully. And first, let's see the truth about finger tapes and tuners. I see in YouTube and online a lot of people recommending using finger tape on the fingerboard of the violin to find where to play the notes. And what I see a lot of adult beginners do too, is just using a tuner to show them the whole time if they're playing the right note or not. But if you look at any professional violinist, you will never see them using finger tapes. So maybe you think, okay, it's because they are professional, but when they learn, they had probably finger tapes. When I read more than 800 books, here are some. And what I can tell you is that when you read every biography and what's the best teacher, what do I teach, nobody use finger tapes for beginners. Okay, but the reason could be maybe that finger tape are a completely new technique that nobody knew about in the past. That is wrong too. Actually, in this very old book that's from 1800, that's from Leopold Mozart. He was the father of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, one of the best violinists and componists of all time. And this is a book about learning the violin. And here on page 105, that's in German, so I will translate. Leopold Mozart say that it makes no sense and is really angry at teacher putting finger tape on the violin of some students. Of course, when you add finger tape on the violin or use a tuner, you will see immediately that you can play more in tune, playing the notes with the left hand more accurately, because you know where they should be. The issue with that has to do with how you achieve that. Basically, you do that by looking at your fingers and trying to put the finger exactly on where the finger tape is. And by doing that, you focus on finding the note with the eyes, and that's causing you to stop listening to what you are doing. And because you are not listening anymore, you are not hearing how it sounds. Because the only way to play better is to improve how it sounds by listening. For example, if you look at what makes the violin sounds beautifully, that's what we teach our students in the Violinacademy, you should really focus on mastering the 4 pillars. The first one is really the sound quality. That's only the bow. The second one is the intonation, that's playing the note in tune. The third one is the rhythm. And the tempo, so that's the rhythm of the music. And the last one is just the musicality, how musically interesting it sounds when you play. And when you play, all those 4 things combine together. And when you're looking at your fingers, is that now, instead of listening to those 4 things, you are just looking at your fingers. And that's what I found, that students playing with finger tapes sounds really bad, because they're just not aware of what they are doing. They are just trying to put the finger on the right place without realizing that the sound is bad, the rhythm is wrong, and so on. And on top of that, each day where they continue practicing like that, make it more difficult to correct that later, as they are developing a bad habit. Now, if you use instead a tuner app to show you exactly if your note is too low or too right, that's exactly the same issue. You are not listening, you are just watching it and noticing what you are doing. Or if you have a teacher that tell you, your note is too high, your note is too low, play higher, play lower, it's exactly the same thing as using a tuner, that's just a waste of time and very bad for your playing. So now let us go to part 2. Let us see instead what you should do to play in tune and beautifully. And on top of that, if you want to learn how to play the violin beautifully, we are organizing a free violin masterclass. You can register with the link below this video. So, the first thing to play beautifully and in tune is to play by listening. That means that actually when you are playing, you should always focus on only one sense, how it sounds. And the easiest way to do that is to close your eyes. try that next time and you will see that not only you will be able to hear if the note is too high or too low, but at the same time if your sound is good, if you are in rhythm, and so on. Of course, now probably you will say, okay, that will be nice, but when I try to do that, I just can't hear it. I just can't hear if the note is right, I don't know if it's too low, I don't know if it's too high. That's the reason why, in the first place, I use a tuner or a finger tape. Right, totally got it. That's the same for every complete beginners. At the beginning, you can't tell if a note is too low or too high. So here, what you need to do to be able to correct that. The first thing is that when it sounds bad, you need to understand what exactly is the issue by categorizing it with the 4 pillars. Because maybe you're playing very in tune and it sounds bad, and you will be focused on your fingers when instead it has nothing to do with your left hand. In this case, when I just played, the problem at all to do with the bow, with the sound, okay? That's why you want really to make sure that you record yourself, make a video. I know nobody likes to do that, but every time students come to us for the first time and they need to record a video, they are shocked and really impressed and think just like, why I didn't record myself earlier? Because you will be able to see everything you are doing right and everything you are doing wrong directly, and that will just accelerate your progress so much. So you want to analyze if the problem is the sound. That will mean, is it a bow problem actually, as the sound quality is not good? Or is it really intonation problem? That means that the notes are not at the wrong spot. Okay? So we'll focus on those two because those are the most common for beginners, playing in tune and the sound quality. Now for playing in tune, it's easier than you think. There is a few methods that I use with hundreds of students that are very easy and to work systematically. The easiest is really just to play with or after a recording of something very simple and very slowly. So let me show you an example. So here, for example, is a D string scale that we give our student in the level 1. And by the way, you can do that with YouTube videos. From my channel, you will find a lot of recording with music sheet that you can use to practice what I'm just showing you. So here, for example, we'll play a scale, so that's just basically on the D string playing the open string, then the E first finger, F sharp second finger, G third finger close to the second, A fourth finger. That means we'll have this finger pattern, okay, with the second and third finger together. And here what we'll do is just that we will listen first to a recording of it. So let's do that. Okay, best is to close your eyes as you are listening to it, and after it's finished, you will leave your eyes closed and try to repeat it. And as you play those notes, try to correct them. Try a little bit lower, a little bit higher. Try to match what you just heard. And then you will repeat that a few times. Listening, playing. And of course, you could just play together at the same time. So if you play at the same time, what you want to do is first, I will recommend mostly it's a little better to use maybe some headphones to hear better the violin and the recording. And the second thing is that I will play it a little bit slower. Okay, so we'll slow it a little bit. I will put 70% of the speed and I will play with the recording. And here, the same with every note, I want to match it. It should sound like one. So I will just play with it very slowly and try a little bit lower, higher, until it sounds like one single note. But I can't, basically I should not be able to hear a difference between the recording and my note. It should sound like one note. And then there is a second method that's super effective, and that's using the resonance. One important principle when you play the violin is the sympathetic resonance principle that you can see here. What it means is that when I play, for example, a D third finger on my A string, my D open string will start sounding with it. Both will sound. So basically the D string will start resonating although I'm not playing it. You will just start resonating with it, because it's the same note. And a good way to hear that is just basically to play, for example here, my D third finger, then lift my bow. And then I will listen to how long the note continues to sound after I lifted my bow. Here it's a few seconds. Now, if my note was too low, the resonance will go down directly within 500 milliseconds or so, half a second. There will be no resonance at all. So what I want to do is just to play the note a little bit lower or higher. And each time, listen to how long this resonance lasts. So now you will not hear a lot of resonance for every note. We will hear that mostly for the notes that are the same as our open strings. That means that basically we have 4 open strings as a G, D, A, and E. That means for all those notes that you will be playing with fingers, you will hear a resonance. That means my A first finger on the G string, then the D fourth finger, E first finger on D string, G third finger, A fourth finger, then on the A string we have the D third finger, E fourth finger, and on the E string we have the G second finger, and the A third finger. And just by listening to the resonance of those notes, that's actually half the note you will play anyway in the first position, it will become very easy to find all the other notes, because you will have those as anchor points. But of course, long term, to make sure you have the right intonation, you want to make sure that you fix every single left hand mistakes and optimize every movement of your left hand. And this I show in this video.